to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucious, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience.
Yes, sir.
We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
Hello, good people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Athletics LLC. We're here. Hello, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Very well, very well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, as always, we are meeting. Oh my goodness, we'll get to that. And we are meeting with these three other lovely tiles on the screen for another fun episode of Athletics LLC. Let's start with the introductions, just in case you're a newbie. If you are, I don't know how you are, but we'll accommodate you anyways. Start the evening off with Lamar, Big Chains Huffins.
What up?
Someone help him. Somebody.
Lord.
I think I'm gonna do next week's show in some arm sleeves like Allison Felix.
Oh
So
my
I can
gosh.
be more aerodynamic.
Clyde, how are you tonight?
I'm great. Let me get on with this.
I like the bow tie, by the way.
Thank you, sir. Thank
It's
you.
that breath of 40. That's what it is. That breath of 40 is amazing.
He's
I
distinguished.
say that because that was
This
me.
ain't the first time the bows have made an appearance. It's,
No, I know.
mix it up, mix it in.
I like it. Sir Lucious, how are you this evening?
I am absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Just honored to be in the presence of such greatness as always.
Ooh,
Great
it's
foolery.
deep. Let me get my boots.
There's a snake in my boot. So, well, based off all the silliness, let's get a little serious about this serious work that the track and field community is putting in this past week. Track is back. What are the notables that you all want to make note of for our audience to know that if they didn't see it, they missed?
I want to jump in there real quick and just throw one in because I think we're going to be doing this for a while. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but Donovan Brazier has not only figured it out, he's got his swagger on lock, and he is not concerned with anybody or anything that is running at 800 meters that's male.
He should be a little concerned because it was a young man from Britain. I think they ran 143.8 today, so he should be a little concerned.
And I think if somebody was to tell Brazier that, he'd be like, okay, that's cute. Like, it just meaning he might actually feel it inside, but right now he's got it on the outside. You know what I mean? Like, he showed up, he told folks, like, I just want to see what kind of shape I was in. I'm sorry.
144.2, yeah.
Right.
I have been super impressed on the collegiate level with the distance squad at University of Oregon. They just continue to, started a few weeks ago when they had a couple of guys run 354, but then they just decided, okay, we'll just go destroy the collegiate record with the two fastest performances ever. Their third guy ran 353.
Right, the third place guy.
And then they have another guy come back later in the meeting. Let's drop 145. So I mean, it's been fun to watch. Even as a competing team against them, it's been fun to watch. I can't think of the gentleman's name. He used to be Virginia Tech. I apologize because I can't think of his name right now, but phenomenal job they're doing right there right now.
It's Matt something. I just forgot his last name.
Yeah, no, I think from an individual event standpoint, collegiately, the Oregon show this past weekend was easily the showstopper for me. But, because of the way the sport is structured in any normal year, let alone the oddness of a COVID year, there's certain things that just kind of build up as long as the season is going along and kind of anticipate, the showdown at NCAA's. And there's not one event that I'm looking more forward to at NCAA's indoors than the women's 4x4. The women's 4x4 is nuts. Just between Arkansas, USC, and obviously Texas A&M and what they did this weekend, like to run 326, that's amazing. Collegiate record that early, that's amazing. The way they did it you have to, if you haven't seen that video, you need to get on YouTube, get on Instagram, whatever it is, and you need to watch that race because that was an absolutely incredible performance. Broke open on the third leg. I believe that is Miss Richardson. And then
Richardson was second. I forget the other girl was third.
Well, whoever was third broke that thing open. And then Miss Moo is out there by herself, but putting the hammer down. It was nuts, man.
50.2. I'm just going to run 52.2 by myself.
Yeah, solo. So, I don't know what it's going to look like in a few weeks at NCAA's, but it's going to be a hell of a race. And I'm here for all of that. That was an incredible performance. Yeah.
You talk about another event that's going to be, I think, retarded at that level is the men's 400. As of I think there's like 9 guys that have broken 46 seconds, which is
Oprah's out there. You get a 45. You get a 45. You get a 45.
Yeah, and led by Mr. Ross over at A&T, who continues to just get better and better every week. So, and the A&T sprint crew as a whole, they've been, they've put the rest of the country on notice that you better be ready when you show up against us. There's 657, 2050, 45-2, 777, and 304. It's a pretty daggone good sprint squad.
That'll play.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So here's how crazy the collegiate track and field scene has been. One of my buddies is a very, 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 very elite throws coach, and the knock on him has always been he can only coach women. So finally, a head coach gave him enough money for one giant dude, and he got the dude to come. And oh, by the way, he broke the collegiate record this weekend in the shot put. And nobody knows, right? Exactly. It's like one of those like, hey, did you see this? Because it was in between like 350 and the Moo show.
Yeah, right.
It was like, hey, if you weren't paying attention, you might have missed this, right? And he's not even yet the best athlete in his family because his dad was an absolute monster. I mean, Anthony Washington is one of the best athletes I've ever seen do anything. And, like the track scene has been so crazy that we've almost forgotten, like on the pro side, that the first thing that happened really in indoor track was a world record in the men's shot put. Yep. And it's just been like, bang, bang. Actually, what's crazy is 2 weeks before that was the indoor world record in the triple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
And let me say this. This is a moment where I might end up just putting my foot in my mouth, but that's okay because I've been that impressed with this. Where some of these events look just crazy, uber competitive, short of something dramatically changing, I don't see how anybody's going to get remotely close to Abby Steiner in the women's 200. I mean, my God, like she looks ridiculous right now. And she's just putting people away. It's not like she's, out there, at random meets running against nobody. Like she's putting people to bed in that race. And sometimes some people just have a distance that suits them. And that seems to be it for her. Like she looks ridiculous right now.
Yeah, she does.
Pretty good for a soccer player.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to the jumps a little bit. Uber impressed with Mr. Grimes at Florida State.
Yes.
Right. Nobody's paying attention. He's just jumping 830s.
Like he's a foot ahead of his competition, and then there's a young man in the triple jump who's also a foot ahead of his. So, there was some talk amongst us and other people that there was some concerns about this season. All those concerns should be put to bed. The performances have been phenomenal, and I've actually had the opportunity to watch Miss Steiner run up and close and personal, and it is impressive. It is very impressive.
Well, how good is the men's pole vaulter?
Yeah.
It's not like we missed him. We've talked about him before.
Yeah, he broke the collegiate record.
It's routine now. He's just out there. It's part of
he broke the collegiate record twice now, right?
Yeah, he's just another dude, right? Yeah.
He jumped 605.
Yeah. Or the young lady at Texas Tech in the longer triple jump. Yeah. It's been a phenomenal year. I'm sure we're forgetting somebody, and please charge it to our heads, not our hearts. But man, it's just been one thing after another, and it's been incredible to watch. And being able to be in some of the buildings during the competitions, the whole idea that because there's no fans, there'll be no energy. Nah.
There's always energy from the kids and the coaches, and indoor because it's enclosed and because it's loud, it always feels like indoor energy, right? For me, normally next weekend would be like the big weekend, right? It's when the majority of everybody has their conference. The reality is probably about half of the conferences aren't really happening this year. And so that's going to be a weird tilt to see for those who do get to go race, how much higher those, you know, these how much the list changes to get in, because top 16 is still the hardest standard that we have. And, you know, it's a dogfight. It's an Olympic year dogfight, like it always is. So.
Yeah, I think the thing that I noticed this weekend, we were in Arkansas, and because you can't be back in the warm-up area, which is where everybody usually hangs out. You can only be back there if you're warming up. So then your whole team is now in the stands. So that's where the energy was. And everybody's in different sections. So you've got Florida here and Arkansas here and LSU here. And like, it was just loud because everybody was out there cheering for their teams. And, you know, it was nice. I mean, again, as I said about Curtis Fry last week, kudos to Chris Bucknam and Lance Harder and their crew. They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, kudos to yourself for you know, throwing Mr. Ikewu out there just as a teaser. Like, here.
That's all it was. Most definitely a tease.
I don't want you guys to forget about me. Let me blast everybody and then go cool off. I listen, I'll tell you right now, for all of you who watch the show, if you didn't see Mr. Ikewu's prelim this weekend, go back, Google it, find it, and then you'll be like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Because that was the easiest collegiate 657 I've ever seen. For a prelim?
You know we're not going to get him to get into this right now.
I know. But
what's up
drop
next?
657 is like, yo, you know what? Let me dust off this rust real quick, run this prelim. Coach said I had to go run, so I guess I will.
The distance coach at Oregon is Ben Thomas, by the way. I was
Big Ben.
Is he on the Bowerman list?
Okay, oh my goodness.
We're done.
Because he should be.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah, what is next?
Big League, what's next? Because he's got a cup again tonight.
So
it's tea. See, double happiness.
Oh my goodness. So you all had mentioned the triple feat that Oregon's distance or men's distance team had this weekend. With that being said, you know, they blasted the sub 4 minute, I should say, for those who are not track savvy quite yet. Why do we still make a big deal out of a 4-minute mile?
I'm sure we're all gonna have a lot to say on it. Listen, let's be honest about it. A long time ago in history, the 4-minute mile was an impossible standard that nobody could pull off. That was a really, really, really long time ago. 4-minute in the mile is no longer elite, and it hasn't been elite. I guess I'm impressed when really young kids in high school do it. And I say really young kids, like freshmen and sophomores, because every single year it seems like we have a few that do it in the upper levels of high school. So why are we so obsessed with it? Because the world used to be obsessed with it. And by the world, I mean majority white people. It was a Euro and world-centric obsession that, you know, grasped the grips of everybody paying attention for a really long time. But it's no longer elite. 4 minutes in the mile is not elite, and we should do that event a better service and focus on a time that would be elite so we can continue to be impressed by it.
Yeah, I can't agree more with that. You know, I just think I don't understand, like, we keep this list of every time somebody runs 4 minutes and the list grows and it grows. So I don't want to keep a list of people that jump 26 feet or people that run 45 seconds or, you know, like those are performances that are, you know, when is the last time 4 minutes made the indoor championships at the collegiate level?
That's been a minute.
Yeah,
I mean,
when's the last time? So like, I'm not sure why we're so impressed with a performance that doesn't even qualify you for our national championships. And I just think it's something people gotta let go. I think it's something that if they've kind of set this ceiling, like I run 4 flat, it's like Remember when 18 feet used to be a big deal in the pole? They don't keep a list on that, do we? If we did, they stopped. You know? So, I mean, at some point in time, you just got to change the mindset. And when we change the mindset, maybe we should start keeping a list of people that have run faster than 3:55 in the mile. Then more people would do that.
I mean, right now, number 20 on the NCAA list is 3:59.04.
And there you have it.
Yeah. You're already not in the meat.
There's
almost a whole second under 4 minutes.
Who have run faster than the 4 minute. And,
I mean,
and that in a year where a lot of people haven't run because they're running cross country.
Exactly.
Right. A whole handful of people ain't even stepped out on the indoor race yet.
I mean, like, the fact that I think Nick Willis has now run under 4 minutes for like 19 years in a row, that was another one of those things. Like, honestly, that's more relevant than anybody running 4 minutes the first time.
Yeah,
right.
That was cool. I thought that story was cool.
That's marginally interesting, right? But like, like the number, I think Asafa has the most times under 10. Like, that's interesting. But one time run 9:99, like, I don't think any of us would, I won't say not care, but it's like, that's pretty good.
Well, see, but that's the problem. Like, let's see, it used to be if a guy ran 10 flat, everybody like, oh my God, he ran 10 seconds. I can remember the first guy close to break 10 seconds was Dennis Mitchell back in 1991. And everybody was so excited. If somebody runs 990 something now, they're like, okay, good job. Like, it's no big deal anymore.
Yeah.
But we never made that transition with the mod. We just haven't made it.
Like to that point though, the Asafa thing is very, very interesting and well stated. I don't know the exact number. I'm sure the audience is going to get mad at me. I think it's like 86, right?
She was going to tell you.
Literally about to do that.
So Asafa Powell has run under 10 flat 80 some odd times. That in itself should tell you that it's not an amazing feat.
Correct.
Him doing it that many times is an amazing feat, and that's cool. But me personally, I've never coached a man that's run 999. When I do, I will feel great about it. But I'm also going to be smart enough to realize that that's not all that fast anymore, right? The 4 minute mile thing, like, we are still very, very obsessed with it. They set meets up around it. Like,
oh yeah,
it's just weird. And to that point, the only time we obsess about a sub 10 is about who did it. You know what I mean? Like, who did it? It's never about the time. It's about the person that did it. In the mile, it's 4 minutes. Like, we're supposed to be loud. It's odd.
Let's kill this 4 minute thought. The 2 mile record is under 8 minutes.
That's a thing. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now that's more impressive because that dude ran sub 4 minutes twice.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
right. Now that is a wow.
Yeah.
Asafa's run as of September of 17, 97 times.
Well, there it is. So he almost had 100.
So
100 under.
He probably is at 100.
I was gonna say, I don't remember his times from this summer, but
I remember them talking about it in the race like 2 years ago at Rice, like right after they had the big flood. And he was racing, doesn't matter. Anyway, like I want to say he ran like 999 or like 10:00, and they were talking about he's right around 100, and I for some reason I think he's at 100. But still, like, I mean, that is way more relevant than under 10 once. But even that is more relevant.
Under 10 once is whatever.
Here's why. Look, under 10 is still better than under 4 because we expect a high school kid to run under 4 minutes. Only one, right? But every year we expect a high school kid to run under 4 minutes. We don't expect a high school kid to run under 10.
Right.
We don't.
And, yeah. And as irrelevant as sub 10 is, no one really cares. Like, we don't give the weight of that to that. And it's because of who can and cannot do it typically. That's what it ultimately boils down to.
Right. When you got dudes running 9.8 in the first round of a major championship, that just tells you that like 999 is just okay. Like I remember when the first time I coached a guy to run 45 seconds, right? Quietly, I was running laps around the building, right? In my own head. But I knew
Rightfully
better.
so. Rightfully so.
But I knew better, and knowing who my big brother is, like I quietly called him and said, "Hey, guess what?" Right? And he was so nice, like, "Congratulations, that's really awesome!" Right? What I heard was, "Good for you. That's okay."
That's so wrong. That's so wrong.
Because
that is
I put
not
in
what I
perspective.
did.
No, you said all the right things. But because I'm so conditioned, right, to like put it all in perspective, and how many times have we all said 45 seconds is, what's the word? Not that fast, right? Like, look, am I proud to be in a group of coaches that have coached a 45-second quarter miler? Absolutely.
But 43 would be a better group to be in.
Well, so I'm just smart enough, being the decathlete I am, I'm just smart enough to put them all together, right? Like I've coached a 45-second guy and
there you go. That's right.
and a 73-meter javelin thrower and a 74-foot female
right.
weight thrower, right? Like put them all
build
together.
Build the world record in the multis through all the PRs of your athletes. I got you. I'm with it.
Absolutely. I remember the first time I coached a 17-foot male pole vaulter. I thought that was like, yeah. Now I'd be like, We could win the Indiana high school state meet with that, maybe.
No.
Depending on which year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of best ofs, let's segue this conversation a little bit. So for those of you who don't know, the association, as we will call it, creates a watch list guided by the name Bowerman, who is the who is who, recognizable, who should we be watching for. These are ultimately potential finalists for the Bowerman Award at the Bowerman Awards, whatever they want to call it.
It's a ceremony.
Yeah, ceremony. Okay. At our convention in December. So we're going to put a little spin on it. These are the cream of the crop, the top of the top, the gold nuggets, the Heisman Trophy winners or finalists, if you will, at the end of the year. So we're going to give you the LLC-Bowerman Watchlist.
Are they going on the Big League Chew watch list?
Sure.
Oh yeah, Chew's got to get in on the Bowerman watch list.
Oh wait, no, you were being serious. No.
She's not prepared.
We'll leave Chew out on this one.
Not prepared at all.
Yeah.
But Chew, it is a top 5 list. We're doing the top five.
Yes. I was going to limit you to only 5 selections.
Okay.
Men and women.
Before we get started on the genders, let me say this, that, we don't do a good job, in my opinion, with this because we allow people to be put on this list for things they did in high school, for things that they did a year ago. And I know the beginning of the year, like even with the Heisman, people are kind of, on the watch list in the beginning for what they did at the beginning of the year, but they get dropped off. We have people on this list that don't even have indoor season. And so at some point in time, if it's going to be an elite list, it's going to be taken seriously. Like you never see a Heisman watch list that has 10 people. No, it doesn't. You find
you don't make TV with 10 lists, 10 names.
Exactly. And so I just think that the list, they need to do a little better job of, in my opinion anyway, doing your homework and not just putting people on the list so you can fill the spots. If you don't have the 10 or so you want to put on there, then don't put 10. So
but to piggyback off of that, I agree. And for the we have a very diverse audience. Understand, I think that our association creating the Bowerman is one of the dopest things they've done. Yeah. To create a Heisman of collegiate track and field and the lengths they go to fly these kids in and do a whole ceremony. Like the whole thing is a awesome deserved display, and it should continue, and it's been phenomenal. And the people that have won it have been stellar athletes. But how we get there is kind of a mess. And, so, this is our way of contributing to that conversation. But, Lucious is absolutely right. It seems to always be, a lot of times your reputation gets you on that list. And what it's supposed to be, according to the association, is who did what this year. It ain't about last year. It's not a lifetime achievement award. It's the best of this year. And in that, respect, under those guidelines, we do a better job cleaning the watch list up. So we're going to try to help people out right now.
And I want to say this as well, that, not only do we do it, we do it for a performance. You go to a meet and have, especially if it's the NCAA championships, you have a great outdoor championships and you walk away with the Bowerman. But it's supposed to be a body of work over that season. And I just don't think that we do a very good job of talking about who had the best season, not who had the best performance. Then get a trophy that says it's a performance of the year. Okay.
Yes.
Or the performer of the year, because the performer of the year should be the Bowerman, the person that had the best year. Now the best performance, and they didn't have a sidebar to that. But
we can have a lower trophy under
exactly,
that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's like, what was it, the Doak Walker?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, people always complain from the Heisman standpoint, right, that there's a lot of Heisman voters. There's an East Coast bias. A lot of Heisman voters don't watch enough games, right? I kind of feel like, well, first of all, I would love, and I'm not nitpicking, because again, I agree with Clyde. Like, the fact that we have the Bowerman is amazing. But I would like to have some transparency in who votes. Because
that'd be nice.
Because I think.
Oh no, there's transparency that they tell you who votes. They tell you who the committee is.
Oh yeah, you're right. At the very end, they do. You're right.
Yeah.
But I would like to see maybe a little bit more disparity in like I think I'd like a few more people to vote. But that's hard because then you're trying to figure out who actually will look at all of the events and who has, the skill and the acumen and the eyes to compare a shot put to long jumps. But at the end of the day, like, as great as this sport is, there's a fair number of people who can do that.
And if you look at the committee, if I remember who's on the committee, there's a lot of knowledge on the committee.
Yes.
I just don't think that they're following that criteria that they set forth. Okay. The criteria is clearly the best performer for the entire year, but they get enamored with one or two performances versus the performer. And the other thing is, I guess as Charles said, just because Clyde said, I don't think they do a very good job of ignoring the tradition of some things. And I'm
Sure.
over
So with all that being
I
said,
definitely think what school you go to also matters. Let's just speak.
well, that's what I'm talking about.
100%. So with all that being said, let's get into this. Like let's
Okay.
throw out the watch list top 5 LLC style.
Okay,
Let's
so
go both sides.
all right, I'll go first. So we'll go to women first.
Sure.
Ladies always first. Yes.
Okay.
Here's what I found.
My watch is talking to me again. So, first of all, any watch list of any kind that doesn't have Miss Mo, how we pronounce it correctly on it, and just, if you don't have her on your list, then you can't participate anymore. We're done with it, right? I also feel the same way about her teammate, Tyra Gibbs, who is the heptathlon leader. She's the high jump leader. She's top 3 or 4 in the high jump. She's hurdling better than ever. We will pray for her with her 800, but she has gotten a lot better. We will have my man Big Chains give her a call about that. So
I think I can help there. I do think I can help.
I think that Miss Izzo from Arkansas, who is I think the event leader in the 5K, and she's top 3 in the 3K. Her and her teammates have been phenomenal. I'm kind of partial to the young lady at Texas Tech, and I think she either broke or challenged the collegiate record in the triple jump, and she's jumped big in a long jump. And I think that that's that story of that young lady that jumped up there, so she deserved to be on the watch list. Now she got to back that up if she wants to be a finalist. And then I am very partial, and maybe it's a little bit of a homer because she's in our league, but Abby Steiner's on my watch list. Just can't. I watched her run the 60, the 2, the 4x4, and then just as a caveat, I think the A&M 4x4 should be on there just because they shattered the collegiate record. That was retarded.
Right, they shattered it, but they may not own it by the end of the season, which is crazy.
Exactly, yeah, because our friend out at USC and my man down there in Fayetteville gonna have something to say about that in a couple of weeks.
It's rare. If you're a fan of this show, it's rare that me and Lucious are in lockstep with some things. So just to be clear, my watch list is pretty simple. Okay, MTV fans from back in the day will appreciate this. A thing move, a thing move, a thing move, a thing move, and a thing move. That is your Bowerman winner, short of her getting hurt. Okay, that's who the award better go to. Otherwise, set the whole thing on fire. However, we're doing watch list right now, and so for the rest of the watch list, I think Lucious has it right. Miss Izzo from Arkansas, Miss Giddens from Texas A&M, Miss Steiner from Kentucky, and for me, my last person that I'm going to slide in there, who I've been very, very impressed with, and I feel like this is the year that she's just going to put things to bed if she has that capability, is TT Terry. TT Terry can go out there and win an indoor-outdoor double in the sprints. I think she, would belong on that list, and everything right now says that she could pull that off. So that's my 5. We only have one bit of difference there. I got TT Terry in my 5. But I
will say this, that TT was a consideration for me, but I needed to run a better 200. And I can promise you her coach agrees with me. We need her to run a better 200.
That is a fair statement.
And again, this speaks to the way that the award has been set up. A freshman has never won.
I don't care.
And I don't care either. I'm just telling you. And in my opinion, there's been a freshman that's been deserving before.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but a freshman has never won. Yeah.
One of the greatest crimes in Bowerman history was denying a freshman.
Sure, no doubt.
Wait, wasn't Sha'Carri a freshman when she won it?
Oh, I forgot. That's right, she was.
Yeah.
I apologize. On the men's side, the freshmen were.
Yes.
Big League Chew dominating again.
Good job, Big League. I forgot she was a freshman.
Okay.
Well,
hold on. What you got, Lamar, for the women?
I will just say this. In Dave Chappelle form, the 3 best track athletes in the country are a thing move, and a thing move. Might slide Abby Steiner in at 3rd behind the first 2 a thing moves, and then put the Texas A&M 4x4 with a thing move at 4th. And I'm going to give my nod for the 5th spot to Gittens because, for one, I love to see people whose struggles I've watched her overcome the things she's had to overcome in her college career. And I'm not giving her credit for the things she's done in the past. I'm giving her credit for who she is now. And I'm watching her compete and knowing who she is, right? Like, she go to dominate unscathed by that. It used to be nail biting and hand wringing to try to get those done. It's like a relatively finished product, and she looks like the class of the field. One event and the possible champion in the other. So that's no disrespect to the rest of there've been some incredible things that have gone on, and you guys have covered most of them. But if we're going to be honest, right, this is probably who and centers to lose, meaning set the bar so high on the place they're going. It's going to come down to probably. We'll see. It's really early. We're not even to conference weekend, haven't had a national championship, and have an outdoor season. But if I'm being forthright and what the list really looks like right now,
it's just the watch list. That's all we're doing. Watch list.
And there's nobody I would add to the wonderful that you have named, because I mean, look, we do a pretty good job on the show of covering. And to Clyde's point, the fact that Clyde and Lucious are in lockstep, like, I certainly am not going to ruin that dance, because that never happens. So
now I don't think we're going to end up in lockstep on the men's. So if Lucious would like to go first again, he most definitely can, or I got no problem jumping in.
Go ahead, my friend.
Okay, so the men's a lot more difficult for me. There's a lot of going on the men's side. And for me, to the point that Lucious was talking about earlier, I respect, if you could do a variety of stuff at an extremely high level, for me, that'll carry some weight, especially in a part of the season right now where we're talking about a watch list. So my watch list is pretty diverse. My apologies to the young men if I butcher anybody's names. But I got Cooper Tier from Oregon. He didn't break the collegiate record, but he's top 3 or 4 in 3 different disciplines. That dude belongs on the watch list. I got Matthew Bowling, top 10 in 3 different disciplines as we sit right now. I got Javon Harrison at LSU, who can jump any damn thing he wants. Again, top 10 in 3 different disciplines. I refuse to ignore Mr. Lightfoot at Baylor. If you break the record twice already, even though it's pole vault, it's one trick pony, but we've never seen his type, at this level before. So I have to have him on there. And then for me, and this is probably the one that's going to get a lot of controversy, I would be criminal at minimum on a watch list situation to be ignoring Trevor Bassett of Ashland. I don't care that it's Division II. I don't care that it's, at a small school in the middle of the Midwest. Like, I don't care about any of that. Take that kid's performances and move them on over to the D1 list. I think he would be second, top 10 in the 400, and his 200 is in the mix as well. There's a lot of recognition for what he's doing, and just so happened to have some experience with high Division II athletes being from this list. So I'm going to ride. I'm going to ride with the D2 counter, in this. Trevor Bassett from Ashland. That's my 5.
Okay. I like that.
Well,
I like the shout out anyway.
That we closer than you think, because I'm a huge fan of Mr. Harrison at LSU, even though he's obviously a pain in my butt being in my conference. But the dude's phenomenal. Like, he just shows up and he just jumps as high as he has to win, and phenomenal coaching and competing by that guy. Mr. Tier at Oregon, what do you say? He's had a phenomenal year. And I'm also a big Casey Lightfoot fan. He continues to do well every weekend. I'm sorry, I can't ride with you on Mr. Bowling, because I think there's people better than him. And the guy I would put in front of him is Mr. Ross at A&T, who's run faster than him in both the 4 and the 2.
Yep.
And I also my 5th guy I wasn't sure where to go with that one, but so I'm going to go a 5A and B with the 2 jumpers, Mr. Grimes from Florida State and Mr. The triple jumper from TCU, because I'm going to butcher his name. So I'll let Sean call me and tell me how to pronounce his name.
Right, there you go. Shout out to Sean Jackson.
Exactly. Big shout out to Sean. So and again, no offense, Bowling, but I just need to see, some championship medal before I put him on my watch list.
And you know what? It's really funny that you say that. That last part to this point, and obviously, if Bowling didn't have the long jump piece, I'd have Ross in over Bowling. It's the 3rd event that has him over that one for me, but obviously Ross has run faster in the 2 and the 4. That is undeniable. And
I'll be honest with you, like the long jump piece did play into my thoughts a little bit, but 25.5 isn't very far. So
I got you.
Thank you everyone for your patience. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, so we had to straighten some things out, but we are going to now resume with Big Chains and his top 5 men's picks for the LLC-Bowerman Watchlist.
Well, the first part of it for me is really easy. I mean, 3 people set collegiate records, so they are obviously on the list, right? Tier, Turner Washington, and Lightfoot. After that, the difficult part would actually, I guess, be picking 2. So I will go in my own mind, like the best performances I would see was AT&T's men's 4x4, which is, I still can't believe they ran that fast that early.
You can't give a Bowerman to a relay team?
Yes, I can.
This guy.
Why not?
All right, go ahead, sir.
Well, okay, let me ask this question. Look, if the same 4 guys, right, if they run all year and they're undefeated and they break the collegiate record outdoors and in, why can't I? I'm just asking. That's a real question.
I guess.
The same 4 guys. Now, look, if they get flipped all around, like, it is what it is. But I'm saying if the same 4 guys do it, why not?
All right. Live outside your bubble.
It is the Big Chains watch list, so you put on.
I mean, right.
Fair enough.
And you know what? I'm about to mess my man's name up, but the truly dominant long jumper that's at Florida State, because I don't want to mess his name up, I'm not going to say
Grimes.
it.
Isaac
Grimes. That's it. It's Isaac Grimes. Thank you, sir.
I'm about to say, how you gonna mess that name up? That ain't hard.
No, because I was gonna,
Give him a new name.
call him something. Yeah, he's going to get a new name, right? So I'll just refer to him by his title, like beast ass long jumper from Florida State. He would look, he would stand up. If we was all in the room and I was like, who's the beast ass long jumper from Florida State? He'd be like, right here. So, and I say that because, look, man, first of all, let's just call it what it is. 833 indoors is really far. A lot of us have been lulled to sleep because the best long jumpers in the history of college track and field have run through Lucious' school in the last like 8 years, right? But when we return to normalcy, which is where we're at, like, now you see what happens. 833 is 30 centimeters better than the next best guy, right? So that's how good you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how good he is. So at the end of the day, if I can only have 5, those are the 5 I'd put on there. Note to folks who are making these lists. I had 5. No. The relay team is 1, sir. And they immediately disqualify themselves as soon as they run one other dude.
Okay.
If the alternate steps on the track, they are disqualified. Hey, but you're on notice. If you 4 can win all the time, you get my vote.
Ooh, well, I will go ahead and transpose is the word, that, and we'll put that on our social medias to see what jibber jabbers we can get out of that one. So
just don't ask for any more polling, because you already know.
I know. Yeah.
I feel like you know everybody who's voting.
No, sir.
Well, see, he just knows a lot of people that don't understand track and field, so it makes it.
I mean, one fool actually responded, "There's not a team that could be assembled that would beat Clyde's team." I was like, "Are you looking at the team?"
And what relay was this?
The men's 4x4. I was like, "What?"
So please tell me he won the women's 4x4 ball.
He won both.
Which is insane.
Okay, so I'm done.
It was unanimous.
I'm done. So the ignorance of track and field in your circle is amazing to me. How in the heck hold on a second. How in the heck? Okay, whoever. So let me speak to the Twitter twits out there. You are delusional. That was obviously a popularity contest because there's no way his team wins.
Wait, hold on. Lucious, you did get you got a shout out though. So there was one comment: Team Lucious would win on the track, and then all members would fail the post-race drug testing. So Team Clyde would therefore be declared the winner.
And
you see, I won on moral dilemma.
Hold on a second. Okay, first of all, not one of them ever tested positive.
Exactly.
And we live in the United States of America where you're innocent until proven guilty.
Exactly.
So, so that's another one of your Twitter twits who knows not what they're talking about. So I'm done. Look, whether you have something to do with it or not, that's spoken like a friend of yours.
Look,
because that's almost exactly what you said. So
the marks get removed.
We're going to stop
positive.
because
And
let me just go through
relay
this.
team
First of all, it all starts
1,
with
2, and 3 all time.
Exactly. And it starts with the whole ugly sweater thing for me because you didn't have an ugly sweater. Wasn't even a damn ugly sweater. It was a sweater, but it wasn't ugly.
Hey, brother, listen.
So I don't
recruit the Twitter votes. It is what it is.
I think it's just because he's pretty. I think it's just because he's pretty.
It's the pretty boy crew. But anyway, so congratulations, sir. You win once again.
I'll tell you what. What in the future we'll end up coming up with some. No, hold on. You'll like this. We're gonna test your theory. In the future, we're gonna have some other kind of pick'em contest. It'll go up for the vote, and I will purposely. With all love and respect, I will purposely pick like 2 and see if I still win. And
Shots
if I
fired.
still win, then you can call it the Pretty Boy Club.
Well, like I said, I mean, it just shows the lack of knowledge of the people out there that are voting for these things because clearly
we all conceded to Lucious the night we picked because he picked the 1, 2, and 3 female quarter milers of all time. Just mathematically, it's not possible to beat.
So whoever would vote against that team is delusional, has no track and field knowledge whatsoever.
Let me say this. Let me say this. I agree. I agree.
But here's a but coming.
No. I agree. This is what I think happened. I agree because I said it on the show that on the track, when it comes to the women's 4x4, when it comes to the women's 4x4, I agree that Lucious' team wins. But what I think happened is people looked up some names, got into Google, had some ocular proof, and was like, yeah, no, that team's out. Give it to the man with the team of integrity. I played team integrity on my women's 4x4, and
like I said, see what these polls become is they become popularity contests, and that's what polls are. So I'm good with that. So I'm going to give you and your Twitter twits your victory. I'm good with that because clearly there is no one with track and field knowledge voting for these things. And if y'all look, I'm going to tell you right now, if you got a problem, you want to discuss this, email Chew. We should be glad to share my information with you because I will educate you. Because if you will vote against that, you are clearly clueless. You have no track and field knowledge, savvy whatsoever. Disqualify yourself from any further track and field conversations.
Read it one more time.
No.
No. Two, was it the men's 4x4 or the women's where they said that my team, no team assembled could beat my team?
Men's. It was the men's.
I love it.
So, and again, that tells you somebody has no knowledge whatsoever.
Yeah,
I'm
no
responsible
chance.
for any of this. I'm undefeated.
I love you are, and congratulations to you and your Twitter twits. And so
they're not mine. I'm not 45.
You're claiming them. They voted for you.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna keep doing this because it's fun. But I put very little stock in the polls.
On the last show, anybody that voted against the women's 4x4, nah. I'm good.
So let's talk about another. Let's talk about some more best performances.
Yeah, let's do that because that's out of control. That's out of control.
I didn't know I won those.
Oh my God.
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Best performances other than Clyde.
That's right.
Let's talk about some best pro performances in the first month of this competitive season that we're in.
This is another one of those no contests, right? I mean, because we're not talking about the best performances. We're talking about the second best performances because clearly it's Krauser and then, whatever else after that.
Well, it's like it's Krauser, and then whatever.
Right. Yeah. Krauser and Moody.
I think Donovan Brazier's been impressive, no doubt about that. I think that obviously the guy breaking the world triple jump record has been impressive. And we talked.
Yeah, that's what. Why is it? I guess I was wondering why is it just a domination of Krauser? Like there was more than one world record broken, and they're indoor world records.
Well, but maybe I'm wrong because I'm not the field event guru that you are clearly. But what I will say is that I think the shot put record was a little bit more challenging. I think that more shot putters have competed at the indoor. And the triple jumpers don't really come at the indoor like that. I could be wrong.
I mean, to be clear, I think that Krauser's performance is the best performance I've seen this year as well. But I just don't think it's just like, I think what Miss Moo has done is a whole nother category, right? I don't think that what Mr. Krauser has done yet, because let's be clear, I personally think he's going to go to another stratosphere next week.
And so for me,
that's what I think.
So I legitimately have two answers for this, and with all due respect to the world records, right? Because the triple jump world record was incredible. I don't think anybody saw that coming, and it was done at a relatively low key situation. Like it was
nobody there,
right? So so that it didn't get the attention it deserved because of the scale, the eyes that weren't on it, right? So for me, Krauser aside, the performer that I've been most impressed with, honestly, on the track, it's been Trayvon Bromell. I can't say enough about where he is and the story that is, and the way he's lining up and looking like he is ready to take on the world. That's amazing. But for me, the performer of the year thus far is American Track League. Like it just is. It's so good, and it's almost over. Unfortunately, we got one more installation, and what do we have coming in number 4? We got Krauser back on the track, and Allison Felix is debuting her season. Like Aries Merritt is debuting his season. Like it just keeps giving us what we need, what we want, what the sport deserves. So my performer of the year, outside of the individual, is the ATL.
Is Fred Curley running?
I believe he is.
I know they were trying. I'm trying to look.
And I'm going to give a shout out to some people. Like I think Miss Javion Oliver has been very consistent and impressive. I think that God, I just lost my train of thought.
For me, the best. I was going to say that's the best performer I've seen so far this year indoors. Shawnee Miller-Weibo.
Yeah, she's been good. Shout out to Christina Clemens. 780, 81 today. Also a shout out to Miss Kenny Harrison, 782 last week. Tiffany Porter, coming back from having a baby, getting in his 780s, and then what's the young lady that Alan Johnson coached in the short hurdles?
Gabby Cunningham. Gabby Cunningham was impressive.
Yes.
Gabby Cunningham looks really good.
Yes.
And because he won't do it, we're just going to do it for him. Obviously, Flamingo has been amazing. And I think Flamingo's being punished by expectation. It's like we all know he's capable of breaking the world record, and we're all waiting on it to happen. So he's not getting the just due that he should for resetting his own American record, right? So, but he's been incredible. And honestly, on the sneak, because she's been running off events, Gabby has looked great. Gabby Thomas has looked incredible. And whatever her and Tanja got going on down there, it is working. I don't know where this is going long term. I don't know if she's going 4 or if she's going 2, but she looks fantastic.
Knowing my homegirls, I do expect to see her in both. Expect to see her in both. And we've seen that out of Tanja before. She's not afraid to double. And I also got to give a shout out to Candace Hill. 7:15.
Oh yeah, the reintroduction of Candace Hill. Yeah. So props to Carol for getting that right.
Yeah, and she looks like a whole different person. Very, very impressive there.
Per the start list that was released today, Fred is not on the start list.
Okay,
that's unfortunate. Because
if we're giving a shout out, how about the buddy battle between Mikey and
Rye,
and Rye the other day.
It was
Mikey and John Wick, as we like to call him. So.
Can we discuss how easy John Wick's first 200 meters looked? He looked like he was running an 800. Like he was just like, he was right next to Mike.
When does he not look like that?
I know, which is why, what's funny? I think that's why we all know at some point in time, like he's going to do something ridiculous, right? Like, hey, let's call it what it is, right? Who have you ever seen try to blow by the world record holder in the 400 on the backstretch of the second lap of the 400
Oh, he tried it. He for sure tried it.
I was like, look, that's a dumb move, but you know what? That tells you where you are in training. Like he was like, I'm about to put Mikey away.
I had a freshman try that back in 2018 in the 4x4. I said to him, get the stick and just lock in behind him, and then coming off the last turn, give it all you got. Down the back of the second lap, he's like, Coach, I thought I had him. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad you thought it because I thought you lost you.
Told you not to think.
Yeah, exactly. I asked you to just tuck him behind him. They ran 3 flat, and you helped him do it.
Yeah,
because he was not letting you go by him.
You got like 50 meters of straightaway. Like that's a really, really hard move to do.
And that's not a guy you want to startle, right? Especially when he's on his game. Yeah, don't startle that dude. So
that's funny. Well, let's go ahead and just hit a hard left, do a little swerving, and let's talk about our way too early predictions for the NBA championships. Way too early. But we're gonna loft it, you know. We did it with football. Why not do it with basketball too? So
hey, it's all in fun. And,
right?
and I will definitely be deferring because I know that basketball is a much higher passion for these two gentlemen than it is for me. I will sit back and get in on this one a little bit late.
Go ahead, Big Chains.
Okay, so look, the easy layup pick would be to pick the Lakers, and I'm not going to do that. Not as a Laker hater. I just if it's going to be super early, I'm going to pick a team that I think has a chance, but you know the Vegas odds are not on them, and I'm going to pick Denver.
Denver to come out the West.
Yes, because they are a really, really good team, right? They are all like they have a chance of beating anybody because they have prime end scoring, they have high end defense, they can beat you in transition, they can beat you in half court, and at the end of the day, like right now, they have the best record in the NBA against teams with winning records. Now, we all know regular season basketball means about as much as regular season hockey. So, but if we're going to pick way too early, I'm going to pick way too early. So,
who do you have meeting Denver in the finals?
I'm going to pick another pick that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to pick Giannis and the Bucks. And for no other reason other than like it's finally going to work out for him because he's not going to be the favorite.
Definitely not that. Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be like the 4 seed, right? Because right now the Nets are better, even though they like literally us 4 could average 30 points a game, each of us playing the Nets because they cannot play defense at all. But Boston, when all the young Bucks are healthy, they're a monster problem for everybody. And I don't know, is anybody really buying that Joel Embiid can be this good for a whole season? If we're talking about play on the court, he's probably the MVP right now. I mean, listen, what Joel Embiid is doing in comparison, right? Look, listen, we could give it to LeBron every year, and I think we should. Like I've always been one of those guys, like him and MJ and Kobe should have like 9, right? Like I really do believe that. But in this particular case, like I would say, like LeBron is the leader, but if they play like this for the rest of the year, they'll probably give it to Embiid because they love this narrative crap. But he is playing far better than he's ever played. I just don't buy that he can do it I don't buy that he can do it for a whole year. I just don't buy it.
That's true.
We'll see. Well, I mean, I'm as usual, we are eons apart on this stuff. I mean,
I picked mine being contrary. I'll be honest with that.
Okay, so. and that's fine because that's what you do. But so. I mean, obviously, I'm a Laker fan, so I'm not picking against the Lakers. In no world do I think Denver's a threat to anybody out there, to be honest with you. I think Utah is a better team, to be honest with you. I think that the Clippers have to be, you better keep an eye on them. I think that's important. You talk about a team with a lot of weapons. Portland's pretty daggone good as well. The East, I mean, Brooklyn will play defense when it's needed. They will.
I hope so.
I'm not convinced that they're the best team out there. I don't know who the best team in the East is, to be honest with you. I don't think the Eastern Conference knows who the best team is.
No.
I think that I'm like you. I want to see my man Joel do this on a continual basis. If he continues to play this way, the Sixers are an issue. I like Boston when they're healthy, but they can't seem to stay that way. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, hey, I'm going to give it to Brooklyn because of the talent, because they have championships, they have championship pedigree, and so we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go Brooklyn versus the Lakers in the final.
Interesting. All right. So much like football, I don't root for teams. I root for players and coaches. And since we're doing way too early, I'm going to go ahead and just put some things out there way too early. In the West, it's LeBron and the crew. It is what it is. I like Portland. I think they're very good. Props to Lucious for getting the Utah in there because Utah is dangerous. Props to Big Chains for getting Denver in there because the Joker is phenomenal. I just don't think his supporting cast is going to be there when they need to be. But I really like that team, and I really like their coach. I thought what they did in the bubble last year was really, really impressive. But, and I'm going to be clear, AD or no AD, I'm not betting against Brady, and I'm not betting against LeBron. The Clippers going to clip. That's what they're going to do. I don't care what happens between now and whenever the postseason starts. The Clippers can win every game from now till then, and the Clippers are going to clip. I ain't worried about the Clippers. Moving to the East, let me be as clear as I can about this. The Three Stooges in Brooklyn ain't winning nothing. They do not have championship pedigree. KD the Warriors had championship pedigree, and KD rode the coattails. Kyrie got his championship pedigree riding LeBron's coattails, and James Harden ain't never won a thing in his life. They play no defense, no shot. I like Philly, and just again, tying it back to my Brady stuff, I'm a fan of Doc Rivers. I think Doc Rivers is pissed off. I think they disrespected him in LA. There was no reason to fire that man, and I think he's on a mission, and Embiid is playing extremely well. So if Embiid can stay healthy, I'm going to pick the Sixers to meet the Lakers in an old school kind of battle, Philly versus LA. But I really do like Boston. They can't stay healthy. They can't stay healthy. And don't disrespect Miami. That's all I'm going to say. Miami's got guts. I like Miami.
Right now, they're disrespecting themselves, so we don't have to.
They are.
I was going to say, right now, right?
They are.
Look, they rode Jimmy to death last year, and he's tired.
Yeah.
Right. So Jimmy's going to play the second half of the season, and Miami will ascend to like the 8th spot. But at the end of the day, like you can't win it in the East from the 8 because there's so much parity. Right. You can't take a weekend. You can't take a series off or take a series lightly, even if you're the quote unquote better team, because there's probably 6 teams in the East that could win it.
I don't have a problem with you throwing the Bucks out there because I like Giannis, but Giannis and who? Like, he still don't have no help. Like,
Giannis has help. It just has to, like, it's like anything else, right? Like, guys have to show up when it matters. Like, Millsap's a real player, but
sure. It's just...
but in the playoffs, like, you're like, hello, where are you at, sir?
Yeah.
Like it's like Giannis walked out on stage is like without the pips.
Yeah.
Gladys could pull it off without the pips because Gladys was the show. Okay, but Giannis needs help. Okay, so don't compare him to Gladys. That's not fair. Don't disrespect my girl Gladys like that. No, we ain't doing it.
I mean, Giannis needs help because at the end of the day, right, the hack and shack will work. Like he doesn't shoot the ball well enough, and he doesn't shoot free throws well enough.
Giannis doesn't. He's not a big enough threat that he can't beat you by himself. Right. And they know that. And if you can keep him out of the paint, he's just not as big of an issue. Like you saw the comment from the guy the other night. If he's going to take a 30-footer, I'm good with that.
I mean, for sure.
Come playoffs, he's going to box and want him and be done with it.
So when you think about like this, the players that lead their teams to championships are true leaders who makes everybody around them better. And I'm not sure Giannis does that, right?
And that's why I don't like Brooklyn, because there's not one leader on that roster.
And see, my thing with Brooklyn is it's hard to bet sometimes against just pure talent. And sometimes pure talent will find a way, right? And so the pure talent may find a way to win the East. I don't think they have enough talent and continuity to win the whole thing. And the only reason I think they can win the East, because I'm not sure there's a good team in the East if Boston can't stay healthy. But I like your assumption about Philly. That's a true statement. Yeah, because my man definitely, Doc has a chip. Doc always had a chip on the shoulder. He didn't need a reason to be upset. So
I mean, he had a chip on his shoulder when he was a player, and he should have, because he got disrespected as a player.
Yeah,
I meant Chris Middleton, not Millsap. Sorry, you guys.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah,
but I mean, at the end of the day, it'll be interesting. But I love Giannis's game when he's open and he's free and he's out doing freakish stuff. But okay, he's a freak show. Doesn't make him a leader. And when you look at the East, I don't think there's a team out there where you go, there's a guy other than my man in Miami who proved he couldn't do it by himself. And there's not a guy out there that just raises everybody's level around him. Not one, not at least anyway.
Yeah, the team that's most interesting to me in the East is Boston, because like if they ever really figure it out, and they're doing that, but if they can ever really figure it out and stay healthy for like a large chunk of time, like I don't know. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? If they could put the same 5 dudes on the floor for 2 weeks straight, like they might be unbeatable in the East.
Yeah.
Because
and they're very well coached.
Jason Tatum might be the best player in the East.
Yeah.
He might actually be. Right. And I'm not 100% sure that he's better than Jaylen Brown. You know what I mean? Like those two dudes are monsters. But they got to figure it out.
Right. And that speaks to Clyde's point about Brooklyn. Do you have 3 of the better scorers in the league?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. They put the ball in the hole.
There's one guy on that team that can play defense, and he can't play defense from his position by himself and make it matter. Like KD can play lockup defense all he wants. It won't matter. They'll just pass the basketball. You know what I mean? Like when like Kyrie is literally not going to play defense at all. And James Harden only played defense for half a season, so they would stop talking about him so he could win an MVP. Like, he's not going to play defense either. So at the end of the day, like, they got in the trade to get Harden, they got rid of 3 dudes that played defense.
They would literally be better off trading Kyrie for 3 defensive players, and then it'd be a problem. Then it'd be an issue.
Nobody wants to say it, but they would be far better with Harden and KD and 3 other dudes.
Yep.
Because Kyrie and James Harden are both ball dominant people, but James Harden will average 11.5 assists this year. Kyrie will never average 11 assists because he's just not like there's not enough time in a 24-second clock for him to pass the ball because he's got to dribble it for 13 of those. He's just a ball dominant guy. Like this is, I mean, look, it is what it is. There's nothing wrong with him. But like I said this one time, and I was talking to my son. He got mad and said I was disrespectful. I still think I'm right. Kyrie Irving is no better than Jamal Crawford. Incredible ball handler, impossible to stop one-on-one, instant bucket. But that's what he is. That's what he is. Like, he's nothing else.
I'm going to say this. That might be disrespectful, but I don't care.
I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like let me put it this way. If you put on your GM hat, if you took Kyrie, traded him and his cap space for Jamal Crawford and what you could do with the rest of the money, they would definitely be a better basketball team.
Oh, I agree with that.
Because you're only going to lose 3 points a game, 4 points a game offensively. And hell, Jamal Crawford will actually play a little bit of defense. A little.
Well, I have made note of all of your way too early picks. We will come and revisit this whenever we are able to have a championship, to pray that it does happen all the way through in its entirety. But let's see if I can come up with a series of questions that Big James doesn't have an answer to. So,
oh boy,
let's
one
see.
of them better be about that damn shirt. I know that.
I know. What happened to the other part of your sleeve?
I had to keep my shooting arm free. See?
Oh my gosh! Somebody help him! Help him!
It was a real thing.
Clearly, it was.
Like my one sock up and one sock down was in high school
the
basketball.
shirt is cotton, right? First of all, the shirt's old, right?
Clyde
The
knows
shirt
what
is
I'm
cotton.
saying right now. No,
I do know what
you
you're
missed
saying.
the whole thing. So back in our heyday, you wore the knee high on one side and the ankle sock on the other side. Because who was it? Was it Mike Williams? Was that who did it? White Lightning did it, and so I had to do it as a shooting guard. So, anyway.
By the way, also one of the most underrated superstar basketball players in NBA history.
Yes. All right. Big Chains, you ready?
I am.
Look at him leaning back like I'm not about to stump him.
I'm free.
Anyhow, you're at Costco. Are you eating a hot dog or a slice of pizza?
Hot dog every time.
What was your first car?
And really, really ugly maroon and poop brown Dodge Omni.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, trust me. I think it had 4 cylinders, maybe.
All right.
The head gasket blew on the way to college.
Oh, wow. Day 2 of the deck after the 15. What's the first thing you do?
Oof. Immediately following the 15?
Immediately following the 15.
Assuming that this turned out well, jog and wave with all the people.
Got it.
If it's at a major championship, it would be with a flag.
Got it. Okay.
And if it didn't turn out well?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's this flip side?
Geez. I think we always still do the jog. We've managed to bring all the decathletes for that for some reason. But yeah, if it didn't turn out well, there was a jog and then a run and jump into the ice bath, unless I had drug testing.
Got it. So they do those. Just kidding. Just kidding. In the hospitality tent, which packaged Danish were you taking? Custard, berry, or cheese? Cream cheese.
So in the morning it would be the cheese Danish.
Got it. Pre-meet. This is competition, not as a coach. What tape or which tape or CD is playing? Is it a mixtape or CD?
It's definitely some sort of compilation, but the songs that must be on there are LL Cool J's "Mama Said Knock You Out" and what's the name of the Tupac song? I won't deny it. I'm a straight rider.
Ambitions as a rider.
Ambitions as a rider. That's it.
Got it. Favorite Taylor Swift song?
Oh, I'm sorry. And Ice Cube's "Wicked."
Favorite Taylor Swift song?
All of them. Taylor Swift, listen. Taylor Swift is literally lyrical platinum. Anything that she does is worthy of listening to over and over again. Yes, I said it. I would be a
I did it on purpose.
I would be a card-carrying member of the Taylor Swift fan club if that was a thing that I could actually do. I think she's gonna
knock you out. Tupac, you, Taylor.
Taylor Swift. Great job, buddy.
And then here's the closer.
And Kelly Clarkson.
Here's the closer though. Lil Baby or Da Baby?
Lil Baby. I have been scorned by my child that if I say Da Baby in reference to a Lil Baby song ever again, that I think he will come out of nowhere and kung fu punch me across the face. So I have learned that Da Baby is the one that had the video with the Jabberwockies, and Lil Baby is the one who's actually socially conscious and has done a couple songs that I actually really like Social Distancing. It's a good song. Listen to it.
Got it.
He's not a mumble rapper, Chuck. He's not a mumble rapper. No,
Can't say a
but I'm
word.
just saying we had this conversation one time. Like, there's too many mumble rappers out there. He's actually not one.
Got it.
Fair enough.
All right, you have survived, sir.
I'm ready, anytime, baby.
Oh my God.
I will check out social distancing and get back to you.
I think I've heard it on accident. I think I liked it.
It's good. Like, it's like, especially like, look, the three of us listen to the words of songs, right? If you listen to the words of the song, he's very socially conscious and relevant and present.
And you promise me I can understand.
100%. I 100% promise you.
All right.
All right. Well, we've done well. We've been on our best behavior. So now let's go ahead and wrap this up and give our population out there our heartbeat props. We will be giving our little kudos, shout outs, roses, whatever you want to call them, to the people who are helping us be us today, help us do what we do or do what we love. So I would like to start out today. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off, but I want to give a huge shout out. As much frustration as we endure with them, their frustration with us and the greater beings out there are even greater than that. And that's to the athletic training staffs who are trying to navigate COVID, our student athletes, the universities or institutions that they're working for and with, and then they're working also with the NCAA and the conferences. So I know as many gripes and complaints and we can give them. I mean, they've got a hard job, and it's not just our teams anymore, especially for the conferences who have decided to double up seasons into the spring. Now they've got all of the sports going at one time. So with that being said, kudos to all of the ATR staffs, ATCs, whatever letters you throw together to address your athletic training staffs. I, at the very least, appreciate your hard work. And as many hugs I give you, my hug's even bigger after that. So thank you very much.
That's well said, Chu. We all need to do more of that. So that is well said.
Deep, but it was there.
So my heartbeat props today. Listen, our world and our hiring practices can be a very treacherous road that all of us in the community spend a hell of a lot of time complaining about, and usually righteously so. But every now and then, something really, really right happens. And my heartbeat props today go out to Tyree Price and the University of Columbia. That man has deserved an upgrade in his profession for a long time. And I think that is a stellar hire. And I think the Ivy League is very, very lucky to have him as a member of it now. And let it just be said, it's rare that you see a coach come up in the HBCU world and make it all the way to Ivy status. So that is dope. I know he's been a finalist and been close for a lot of jobs. And I'm just happy to see him bust through and to be put in a place that he deserves to be. So Tyree, congrats, man. Go kill it. I know you will. You always do. Congratulations.
I do want to say in regards to that, like, look, don't let his collegiate degrees fool you. That man is a legitimate card-carrying member of Mensa, and he is probably still smarter than all of his Ivy League athletes. So, beware.
Again, like I said, it's brilliant. I love it.
That is a brilliant young man. He gave me a call, said he's selling his car. He said, I think I can make it in Manhattan. I was like, without a car? Absolutely, you can. Gonna be good. Mr. Lucious, I'm sorry, Sir Lucious, would you like to go or would you like me to go, sir?
I mean, you were babbling along, so I thought you were just going to.
You know what? I will continue to babble. Look, my heartbeat props this weekend are very, very simple. One goes to my mom because today is her birthday, and that's an awesome thing. I asked her today. She said today was her favorite birthday of all time, and I said, okay, well, that's awesome. Why? And then she about made me cry. She's like, well, because I was here to celebrate it. And I was like, you know what? Yes, that is awesome. But I've given my mom several shout outs, so I just wanted to say that because today's her birthday. But look, it's very rare that I get inspired. And last week I got cut off before I was going to say it. And so I'm going to say it this week. Look, she will never say anything, and neither will her kids, right? Because they're very well trained. But Coach Chew and Chew's crew, as they have been called, have been absolutely dialing it in week after week. And look, come close so you hear me when I say this. They do not have a track. They are not allowed to use hurdles. They do not have any field event areas. No pole vault runways, no long jump runways, no triple jump runways, no pits. And they have broken school records in the pole vault and the triple jump and the multis over the last 365 days, right? And this year they've broken the pole vault record twice. And one young lady PR'd by an entire second in a 60-meter hurdles. So at the end of the day, look, when somebody's doing that level of coaching job, friend or no, important to us or not, look, sometimes you just got to push them out there and make them take an applause. So my heartbeat props this week go to Big League Chew and Chew's crew.
A 1 second PR in a race that goes 60 meters is insane. I don't care what.
It's insane.
Absolutely insane.
For sure.
I'm obviously I've got my own heartbeat props, but I can easily piggyback off of any of those. Just unbelievable job with the trainers. I'm a big Tyree Price fan. He's a phenomenal hire, and kudos to your mom, and big kudos to Big League as well. I'm also on the birthday tip a little bit here. I got a lot bit. Yesterday was my younger brother Kenny's 60th birthday. And it was a big day for us because Kenny had some serious drug issues when he was younger, and we weren't sure he was ever going to get to be 40. And for him to celebrate his 60th birthday, we had a great conversation yesterday where he is at in his life now, and he's got his life together, and he's headed down the right path. Just incredibly proud of him and the man he's become, and he continues to grow to be every day. Works hard to, as he says to me all the time, the hardest thing he's ever had to do was to manage being an addict every day. But he's doing that very well. I'm very proud of him. And, we two grown-ass men on the phone crying yesterday because we were so happy to, being able to say, excuse my language, I'm sorry, but it was a very emotional day for us yesterday. So, Kenny, I'm proud of you. I know you will never hear this unless I show it to you when I see you in a few months. So I will make sure I do that. But just want to give you a big shout out, little brother. Very proud of you, man. And we'll get together to celebrate soon.
That's awesome.
I'd like to add one. I'd like to add one that I think we're all gonna agree upon. Texas is a big place and plays a huge role in our sport. And we all know way too many Texans that are suffering through this ice chill with no power. And so this isn't going out to anybody specific, but we all know a lot of people down there suffering. So to our Texas fans and our friends down there, stay safe, do what you got to do to get through this. It will be over soon. And hopefully the people that have screwed this up can fix it moving forward. But my God.
Yes, please do. I got some pretty important people to meet living down there.
Well. So I hope you all have been able to feel our hugs. Definitely send those hugs out to those you care about when you can, so they don't miss it. But other than that, that was a great duration of time spent with these three other tiles with me. And other than that, we will see each other again next week. And I will get up these LLC-Bowerman Watchlists on our social medias to see what conversations we can spur this week. So you all have a great weekend, I should say. I'm sorry. Travel safely to wherever your destinations take you this weekend, and we'll see each other soon.
Peace.
Bye, y'all.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the lights come on, opponents smash the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot knife the butter. Truth pin them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics, double OC, there's no others. Track and field's place, and we'll peel to go further. Hey, why Coyote is road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these four corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to you? Circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass and fail, then sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics, LLC, the task force.